These darn saws on the wind. Tailgated my truck, stuff blowing all over the place. I'm thinking to myself, what in heck am I doing out here when I have a shop about 30 feet over to my left that I could be working on? So I took them and brought them in here. Nice echo, no lights, no heat, but it's out of the wind. But this is that Husqvarna X-Cut stuff, and I thought it did pretty well. It lasted for, I put a couple of days on it. Now, what I want to do is see how it responds to my preferred method of sharpening. There we go. With the combination of having the spur behind the clutch and also having the chain adjuster in the case in the front, that combination just makes these a little bit more awkward to deal with, especially when you're out in the field. Where the new 565, even the 372s with the internal clutch, external sprocket, and the chain adjuster and the side cover just really makes that whole operation a lot easier and a lot more easier to deal with in the wind and the cold. Actually, I'm not going to turn the camera off. This is useful information. See, I think this chain got tossed. And what happens sometimes when a chain gets thrown is it'll put a little burr, and then you have to file it off if you want the chain to run smooth. It looks to me like these are not going in smoothly. So that's probably where the burr is. I'm going to be hanging with their burrs just the same, so let me see if I can get rid of them. See if that did anything. Alright, I think we're back to a point where I can actually start working on this chain. So basically I took the file and I found a couple of burrs and these little shark fins down here. I don't know what you call those damn things. And once I got them off, now this chain runs smooth, therefore theoretically it's something I can sharpen, right? So let's go put it back on. See, I wanted to try these X-Cut chains and things like that. And the reason really is, you know, I've got all these crazy sources for stuff, you know, but not everybody does. And what if you just got to go down to Lowe's, or you have to go down to Tractor Supply to get your chainsaw supplies? So I'm going to go through and do that and see whether or not I have, you know, legitimate options there. And obviously a brand name like Husqvarna you would expect to be a legitimate option, right? Well, getting to the end of this one after about 15-20 minutes grinding on this stupid thing, you know, and that begs the question, is it really worth sharpening a chain? Alright, I don't know if I can do this over the wind, but I'm going to take that chain and clean up a couple of these logs and we'll just see what kind of chips they throw. It'll tell us everything we need to know, right? Well, this morning is going to be more about pulling than it is about cutting, although I'm probably going to cut just as much to get things out of the way so I can actually pull. But I have to get this one right here first. I got to get it out of the way so I can get to the other two. And because the top is up here the options are either I cut the top off and leave it, or take down that kind of scraggly tree right there, pull it up for firewood, and then cut that ash tree right about there, and then pull it up the bank, and then pull the other one up the bank as well. To you farmers out there, this is kind of a familiar sound. I mean, how many times have you gone to a farm or an auction, in the background there's some John Deere idling sounding just like this one? So let's see if this works. We got my snatch block right there. Just tighten it right up. And over there somewhere is a log. It'll be coming right at me for a minute. Got to keep an eye on the tractor. You know, you don't want to pull it over. See if we can get the log to go the rest of the way up the hill. Watching the tractor. See if it'll slide by that tree. Here it goes. Keep an eye on that tractor. That's a really high pull point. These are really not that heavy a log. You know, they're ash instead of like maple or something like that. So. That's a nice tree too. And got a split in there. Hope it didn't crack all the way up the tree. Sometimes they do that, and that really reduces their value. And that's exactly what I'm trying to avoid with those kind of cuts I'm making with that. Let's see it. This one here I got perfect. Just enough hinge to guide it where I wanted it to go, and there's no pulls whatsoever. Now these next two trees are actually quite large. The winch actually, I mean, if you're looking at the tractor here, my camera is level, so to that point on the pulley, that's a big lever trying to rotate the tractor up and over, lifting up the front end. So these are the ones that get me a little nervous with pulling. So what I'll do is I'll set the camera over here and pull that cable down there, hook onto it, and see if I can't move that tree up here to where I can work on it a little bit easier. You see, I got two trees right there to get. Both of them are going to have to use the same strategy. Both of them are more than the tractor to pull up that hill. Disconnected and went up this channel we built this morning, and it'll work. It's going to be a little bit of a tough pull getting started, but I think we'll get it up and out of there. That's a lot of tree, and the one back there is even bigger. So what I'll have to do with that one is pull through here up to that tree. But I'll back the tractor down and pull it up to the tractor, and then do the same kind of an idea, except for this time I'll have enough cable to release it, drive up the hill, put a snatch block on there to get it around the corner. But the rigging, you know, and that's the point for me, is this part of the process is way, way more time consuming than the cutting part, the felling and the cutting the top off. And this winch really helps. I used to just take the International, just back over stuff and hook on and come out. It was rough on the tractor, but it worked. And in situations like this, believe it or not, that technique might even be faster. The risk is you get into a mud hole and you can't get out, right? no way the tractor has enough to pull it up the hill, right? So I got to pull, oh, I don't know, it's about 150, 200 feet down there, that tree down there. I'm going to use a snatch block to kind of pull it to one of these trees here first, to try to help it get around this corner, and then release the snatch block and then pull it up to here, and then drive the tractor up the hill, and put a snatch block up there to drag it out, so it doesn't have to go around the corner quite as aggressively. So, and before I do that, I've got to cut that log so it'll break. So, let me just set the camera right here. I'm going to go down here and see whether or not we got stuff to run into first. Before I start running the winch. Yeah, that was a big tree. It's got to come out of there. It's going to try to knock these over. And what I got to be careful of is when the cable of the tree start pushing things over, either don't get underneath them to get crushed by your own pulling operation, and then conversely don't get on this side so when they spring back they throw crap at you. You got to think about all that stuff. This rigging operation here, like I don't know what happens if that tree gets pulled over. You know, you got to think like that. Or does it start knocking branches down from up there and you're underneath it? So all that stuff has got to cross your mind before you pull that switch, you know. So we're going to step back here a little bit, and so I can have visibility of what's happening in that tree, what's happening with my tractor, because I don't want to pull it over, and are we actually pulling the tree? Let's see what happens here. Alright, see, I better knock that tree down and then release the snatch block over here. But you see, I can see that now. I could predict it, but I can see it now, right down in here. That's why the remote's important. So let me shut the camera off, go get the saw, and see what else I have to cut in order to get my way out of here. That's a beautiful tree. Alright, I moved the snatch block from the one tree to that one straight ahead, so it's moved over about 15 feet. So now the cable's going that direction. Maybe it'll pull it around the soft maple. I'm going to knock down these two little beech trees, and then maybe that one right there too, and then resume. I'll put the camera back down in here somewhere so you can see the fun and games. Alright, let's see what we got now. I'm going to stand right behind that little tree there, so if any branches come slapping, I got a tree between me and them. That's why I'm going to stand right here. So let's see what we got going. Alright, now I'm going to go up there and release that one snatch block. By the way, this is not a trivial tree. There is a lot of tree there. Yeah, I'm trying to get it all out, one shot. In the past, I would have backed down here with a big 1066 and would have cut a whole lot of trees out of the way first, back down in there and hooked onto it and just let it idle out. And this is a little more interesting. I'm not really sure which one's more efficient. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather do it this way. It's a lot less stress on the tractors. So I'm going to go release the snatch block off of that tree because I moved it from the one straight ahead of us to the one over here. Let's go release that snatch block. Now, one thing I want to point out about these, the snatch block I have right here, is while it may not be one of those really slick ones where they self-release, well, I don't want one that self-releases in this case, because I'm pulling it to a point where there's nothing to hit the snatch block to release it. So having one of these Harbor Freight ones is perfect, because all I have to do is move it around to steer the tree, and I'm not waiting for the tree to actually hit it. I have to actually release it and move it before the tree gets there. So in this application, simple sometimes is the best. Hit that tree, not bind, or at least be in the branches where the winch can pull it through. So I'm putting a snatch block on that tree, but first I'm going to move the tractor up the hill. So I have it on the snatch block over there. It's right there. By the way, this is one of the no-nos about cables, is being in line with it when it's under tension, because if a cable snaps, it's like one massive rubber band. It can come back at you in a hurry. So actually where I'm sitting right here, the one cable is going to that tree, the other one's going that way, so I'm really not in the hit zone. So let's just see what happens. Wanted to pull the tractor right down, didn't it? All right, so I think I was able to get it far enough up there where it's only small branches that'll go around that tree. When it's going to bend around this one right here, that'll be the fulcrum, and then those branches have to bend around that ash tree, which I do not want to take down. I really don't want to take down that tree either. So what I'm going to do now is come up here and release the snatch block. I might put it on that one tree 3/4 of the way up until I get a little further, and then release it and let it go to the tractor. But basically using the snatch block to steer the tree. And again, just the simple snatch block I have from Harbor Freight works beautifully for this, because I'm not waiting for something to actually go trip it. I don't want to get the log that close. So really what it is about moving the end of the log to a more advantageous spot so that I can get it up and out. And that little 20,000 pound, $30 snatch block is definitely made itself worthwhile right now. So, all right, let me release the snatch block. I think I'm going to set the camera up on top now, so I don't have to come down and fetch it out of there. Steering the log, pulling it out so it doesn't wedge and bend and break and do all the things you don't want it to do. And that's another little thing. One of the reasons why I'm spending this much time instead of just brute forcing these logs out is because the ash have the tendency to crack. So if I start flexing it big time on the saw log, I'm going to have a greater chance of having a split than if I do it like this, where I'm pulling everything in a linear fashion, you know. So there's two reasons I'm doing what I'm doing. One, because I can, and two, I don't want to bend the log that much. I guess 3 and 4 is it's less stressful in the woods, you know, a little bit less impact. I have to cut down less trees, because if I had my big 10, I'd cut down half those trees to back into it to get the one log. I think one of the beauties of using like this is it's really pretty lightweight and pretty easy to move, you know? So since it's easy to carry, it's not really complex. Mission accomplished. It's around the corner. I'm going to take off the snatch block and bring it right to the tractor. That tractor was hopping. Jeez. I'm going to pull up a little bit, I think. Get it out of that hill. You know something? I am going to do one more snatch block up to this tree right here. So let me go get it. This simple arrangement right here really paid dividends right now. All right, last pull, and then we're going to get out the tractor. The winch has done its part. Now let's see if the tractor can drive it and do its part. I wonder if they're hooking onto these to bring them across to... I do believe I caught it. Here he comes.